They're locked behind a wall, or maybe hiding in plain sight. They've been prophesied to destroy the world, more than once. They've haunted 3 religions, 5 continents, and your grandma's WhatsApp group chat. Meet Gog and Magog, the ancient chaos agents prophesied in the Bible, the Quran, and Jewish tradition. But are they real beings, coded metaphors, or just ancient political propaganda that somehow turned into end-of-days canon? Welcome to Talk Maniac, where history meets hysteria and memes meet mythology. Let's dig in. Let's set the record straight. In the Bible, Gog is a prince or king, and Magog is the land or the people he leads. In the Quran, Ya'juj and Ma'juj are 2 destructive nations or tribes. In Jewish eschatology, they are enemies of the Messiah. In Christianity, they're revived as world-ending invaders in the Book of Revelation. Same names, different vibes. It's like the multiverse, but every universe ends in flames. Ezekiel 38-39. Gog is the leader of Magog from the land of the north. He invades Israel with a massive army. God obliterates him with fire, earthquakes, and rain, because why not? But let's analyze that. This prophecy was written during the Babylonian exile, 6th century BCE. Scholars believe it's a symbolic prophecy of hope for Israel's future victory against oppressors, possibly a coded message about real-world threats like the Scythians, Persians, or Babylonians, a way to reframe trauma using divine vengeance narratives. Translation: bad stuff happened, but God's got beef with them, don't worry. Surah Al-Kahf, verses 83-101, tells the story of Dhul Qarnayn, who builds a wall between 2 mountains to trap Ya'juj and Ma'juj, known for their corruption and violence. He uses molten iron and copper to seal them in. Dhul Qarnayn is seen by some scholars as Alexander the Great, Cyrus the Great, or a legendary archetype of righteous rulership. The wall he builds symbolizes human order against chaos and might be inspired by real walls, like the Great Wall of Gorgan in Iran or the Derbent Wall in Dagestan. Gog and Magog are linked to end times, escaping only by divine will before the final judgment. According to Hadith, they will drink rivers dry, overrun cities, and even Prophet Isa, or Jesus, will pray for their destruction. So either this is a literal horror story, or an allegory for uncontainable human corruption. The names Gog and Magog have debated roots. They might come from Gygas, an ancient king of Lydia. Magog may derive from Meshech and Tubal, tribes near the Black Sea. They could also be of Assyrian or Akkadian origin, reworked into later texts. In some medieval Christian and Islamic texts, they were linked to the Mongols and Turkic peoples. Basically, whoever was invading at the time got labeled Gog and Magog. Classic PR spin move. Across Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Gog and Magog are seen as external threats that come from the edges of civilization. They are agents of corruption, chaos, and lawlessness, used to mark the final battle between good and evil. They are always defeated by divine power, not human armies. Philosophically speaking, Gog and Magog may not be people. They might represent the ungovernable side of humanity, the collective fear of outsiders or foreigners, or the inevitable chaos that arises when societies reach a moral or political breaking point. It's like society's 404 error warning before a hard reboot. People really went looking for this wall. Hard. Some Islamic historians like Al-Tabari described it as existing in the Caucasus. The Great Wall of Gorgan in Iran and Derbent Fortress were long considered candidates. Chinese pilgrims like Xuanzang described massive walls in the east, linking them to Gog and Magog. Modern analysis suggests it may have symbolized ancient geopolitical boundaries, or perhaps it's a metaphor, the wall representing human efforts to control chaos. It's also found in medieval European maps with Gog and Magog imprisoned beyond the Caspian, so either they're real, or we've just been geotagging the apocalypse for 2,000 years. Contemporary theories are wild. Strap in. Christian prophecy preachers link Gog and Magog to Russia, Iran, or coalitions of anti-Israel nations. Muslim eschatologists debate whether they represent global capitalism, transhumanism, or even AI. Some claim they're not human at all, but supernatural entities or interdimensional beings. Fringe theorists, Hollow Earth, Antarctica, the Moon. Yes, seriously. From a psychological point of view, Gog and Magog reflect our deepest fears: overpopulation, uncontrollable violence, invasive threats. The wall is symbolic of our cognitive boundaries, the barrier between order and breakdown. Sociologically, their story reflects how societies define the other. the outsider who threatens the system. They appear in times of uncertainty, when people feel history is spiraling out of control. In other words, Gog and Magog aren't just waiting behind a wall, they're lurking in our collective anxiety. Islamic eschatology presents signs of the end appearance of Dajjal, the Antichrist, return of Isa, Jesus, emergence of Gog and Magog, cosmic destruction and divine judgment. Depending on who you ask, we're either decades away, or already too late. Insert, this is fine dog meme. Gog and Magog have outlived empires, reshaped belief systems, and confused scholars for millennia. So what are they? Mythological symbols of fear and disorder? Coded political allegories for ancient invasions? Real-world tribes turned into apocalyptic memes? Or spiritual truths hidden in allegory? Maybe Gog and Magog aren't just prophecies. Maybe they're the inevitable consequences of human pride, power, and the illusion of control. This has been Talk Maniac, where prophecy gets fact-checked and fireballs come with subtitles. Smash that like button like it's a molten iron wall. Subscribe before the rivers dry up. And drop a comment. Are Gog and Magog still behind the wall? Or already on your Wi-Fi? Stay chaotic, stay curious, and don't trust ancient walls.